Welcome to another episode of Inside Rangers Football. I'm your host, Brant Freeman, who's always joined by Smith Valley head coach Larry Hill. Unfortunately, the season now over for the Rangers as they lost in the first round of Lake Travis this past Friday. We'll recap the game while looking ahead to the upcoming offseason. Coach, will start with the game against the Cavaliers, a 21-3 setback. Now, defensively played very well. You look at Lake Travis, we previewed the game last week. Incredible offensive scoring rate, even without Hudson Carter quarterback over the past 6 games or so. But offensively, as the score indicates, only the 3 points scored. It was a tough night for them, really, in particular, finishing off drives. Right. What was your overall takeaway from the game this past Friday?
Well, you know, what you hit on. You know, I think as with most games that are tight like that, there's a couple of turning points. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you mentioned not finishing drives. We get one inside the 10, another inside the 15, and come away with no points on either. You know, that obviously is a turning point. One of their scores comes on a big 4th and 9 throw from about 35, 40 yards out. And then, you know, we had a special teams penalty that kept their last touchdown drive alive when we could have gotten off the field. So, you know, if you want to play the what-if game, there's 4 or 5 things there that had that gone differently, you know, it could have gone to the wire. But they didn't. You know, let's give credit to Lake Travis. They got a great program. It's been good for a long time, and we'll make a deep playoff run this year. And, you know, it's kind of the fate of the Rangers, you know, in the sense that that caliber game normally is played in a quarterfinal, semifinal type atmosphere. We had about 5 of them this year, you know, starting with game 1 and on through our district, and of course last Friday night. And, you know, you've got to be on your P's and Q's because your margin for error in those type of games pretty small. And, you know, that was true again last Friday night.
You referenced the what-if moments. I want to highlight the biggest one, I thought, in particular. That was your final possession of the first half. You have the ball inside the 5-yard line, a few seconds to go. You're down 14-3. A touchdown makes it a 4-point game going to the locker rooms. A field goal even makes it a 1-possession game. Right. But the snap goes onto the ground. You come away with no points. Just how deflating was that going into halftime?
Well, you know, if you dwell on it, it certainly can be deflating, but obviously we're in there at half. It's an 11-point game. We're getting the ball coming out the second half, so we don't dwell on it much. You know, it's there's no rewind button, so all you do is move forward. And so we quickly talked about it, moved on, made our plan for the second half. But, you know, that and 2 or 3 other things that I mentioned, had that gone differently. But the other team can play that game too. You know, surely there's a couple of plays they felt like if it had gone differently, then maybe they widen their gap some. So, you know, it is what it is.
Now, again, defensively played very well. The 21 points scored by Lake Travis, the fewest they had scored since week 1. We look at the play of the offense, again, only the 3 points. And over the course of the season, you were much better running the football than throwing it. But you look at the game plan for Lake Travis, they held you to under 100 yards rushing in the game, less than 3 yards per carry. I know that the score dictated what you had to do offensively, especially in the second half when you're playing from behind. You had to kind of abandon the run. But do you feel as if Lake Travis's game plan was to make you one-dimensional?
Well, I don't know. You know, they lined up like we thought they were going to line up, defended us pretty much like they thought. And we had our moments being steady running the football, but I think the biggest thing that we lacked, we didn't get for whatever reason, we weren't able to generate explosive plays, big chunk plays, 30, 40-yard runs or an 80-yard run or a 1-play drive. And, you know, they were able to thwart that and make us do it a little bit at a time. And that probably was the biggest difference. I thought we limited their explosives. You know, they certainly didn't get the number of explosive plays they had, but they limited ours too. And in the end, that was the difference.
It's never easy when a season ends, whether that's in the first round, in the state finals, in the regular season. And so I have to imagine it's always difficult in visiting with the team right after a season comes to a close, as was the case this past Friday. But what was your message in the locker room to the guys afterwards?
Well, you're right. It's always difficult to say because you don't prepare for the moment. You know, you're preparing to win that game. You're preparing for next week. And, you know, the finality of it all of a sudden hits you in the face. And then here they are in front of you, crestfallen and disappointed. And then, you know, what are you going to say? You know, what is it that you're going to say that's going to make the moment better? And the reality of it is there's nothing. There's nothing that you're going to say. You talk about holding your head up high. You talk about, you know, did you prepare? Did you lay it all out there? Did you do everything you're supposed to do to give yourself a chance to win? And the answer to that for this football team is absolutely. I don't think we've ever had a group be as attentive to detail in their preparation, and we've had some great ones, but none better than the 2019 group. So our hats off to that group, particularly those seniors.
Again, Smithson Valley came up short in this bi-district game against Lake Travis from this past Friday, but the Rangers, as they always do, went down swinging. And with that, we take a look at the last batch of the big plays the Rangers made in this week's Plays of the Week.
Let's take a look. Our first play of the week is a defensive play. You can see our defensive front moving around, and then that's Trey Witcher and Garrett Brooks going opposite directions on their pass rush to draw the blockers out of a lane. You can see the big lane created in the middle, and then Tom Zoid comes on a blitz. The running back sees him, he meets him right there, but then Tom, kind of brings the wallop to him, wins the collision, gets off, and then gets a big sack to thwart one of their drives in the first half. See it a little better from the end zone. We're showing just a three-man rush, showing a lot of blitz in and out, and then there goes Trey to the right, there goes Garrett to the left, and it does open up a big alley for Tom to hit. And takes on the collision, moves off, gets the quarterback, throws him for a 6 or 7 yard loss. Well played by our senior linebacker. It's just a special teams play. We averaged 49 yards a punt the other night. So I'm going to highlight Chandler Cole, our deep snapper, playing his last game. Our signal caller there, Jacob Fortone, in the middle, playing his last game. And then Garrett, the punter, Garrett Brooks, not playing his last game. But the snap is spot on. We're actually checking the punt from side to side. We can punt left, punt right. Our goal is to always keep it away from the returner and maximize the roll. We did just that, 49-yard punt, get them down close to the 10-yard line. From the end zone, you can see kind of how it's supposed to work. There's their returner. He's in the middle, kind of playing cat and mouse with our guys. And then as the ball snapped, he breaks left because we've punted to that direction several times. Garrett crosses him up. We punt the ball the other side. You can see our coverage coming here with the ball going that way. Ball hits on about the 25, 35, and then rolls all the way down in the 15, 14-yard line. Big play by our special teams, creating field position. Big fourth down play. I got a drive that ends up resulting in some points here. It's 4th and 1. We false cadence, and then Luke gets a play from the sideline. And, got to keep the drive moving. And we get some great blocking up front that you'll see from the other angle. They're coming on an outside blitz. We go with an inside zone, and then Jacob cuts it back to the inside. Picks up 10 or 12 yards on that side. See it a little better from the end zone. Lake Travis showing blitz, as you would expect, trying to crowd those running lanes on a fourth down play. So a little cat and mouse, who's going to do what? Get a real good push on our right side. That's Donnie Bell. On the far left, that's Ryan Binka, and then our center, Taylor Brooks, pushing them that way. And then on the left side, we got some more push, and it's a cutback play all the way into that crease. Good run, keeps the drive alive, comes away with points. And those are our plays of the week.
And then again, a look back at Smithson Valley's game against Lake Travis from this past Friday, a first-round loss to the Cavaliers. Coming up later in the show, we'll look ahead of the offseason for Smithson Valley and one more look at senior moments along with Rangers trivia. All that and more coming up on Inside Rangers Football.
Mom Needs a Break Cleaning is the professional service you can trust. Thorough, careful, and affordable. We take care of all your home cleaning needs so Mom can take care of the important things in life. Isn't it time you came home to a spotless house without the hours of back-breaking work? Call Mom Needs a Break Cleaning for an over-the-phone estimate and to set your personalized cleaning schedule with us today.
And welcome back to Inside Rangers Football. Still to come in the show, we'll look ahead at Smithson Valley's offseason and the upcoming 2020 year. But for one final time this season, let's go back to Emily Wick for another look at senior moments. Emily.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Brant. I am here today with Jack, James, and Manny. Who's ready from some senior moments trivia? Ready. All right. Today you are playing for a piece of history. I have the piece of field that is left from the Ranger field from the years of 2011 to 2019. So it's a lot of action that this little piece of field has seen. Y'all ready?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. All right, guys. Question 1. A male duck is known as a Manny.
Goose.
No, not a goose. Jack?
A bull.
Not a bull. James? Buzz in. You gotta guess.
I don't know. No idea.
Actually a drake. A drake. Who knew? Speaking of ducks, there is a superhero duck that makes his entrance in a Marvel movie. Does anyone know his name? I'll give you a hint. He shows up in Endgame.
It's been a while.
Manny? No, not Loki. Loki is not a duck.
He changes people.
That was a good try. Anyone?
I don't even know if I can name. I'm the superhero.
Howard the Duck. His name is Howard the Duck. He had his own movie back in the 80s, and now he is in.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't think about
Good try. Now that school's back in session, y'all should have pencils in your hand again, right? How many sides to a pencil does the standard pencil have? James?
5.
No, not 5. Jack?
8.
Not 8.
I know it.
Manny?
6.
6 is correct. The standard pencil has
Good answer,
6
good
sides. For a bonus question, what is the lead in a pencil made out of?
Graphite.
Very good, Jack. Point for you. Okay, a little movie trivia for y'all. Throwing it back. You ready? I'm going to give you a line. You tell me what movie it's from. If you find yourself alone, riding in green fields and the sun on your face, do not be troubled, for you are in Elysium, and you are already dead. Jack? No, but that's a good guess.
I heard him say shit like
Manny?
Titanic.
No, not the Titanic.
I don't even understand how y'all
Good answer,
guess
man.
it.
Good answer.
James?
Mommy?
No, I'm going to give you a second line as another hint. What we do in life echoes in eternity.
Oh, it's motivational.
Anyone? Anyone? Jack?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
No, that is not.
That's a movie though, right?
Y'all give up?
I give up.
The Gladiator.
No way.
Yes,
I've
The
never seen
Gladiator. It's a good movie.
That's one with the sword. The one with the sword.
This guy's so
No, the people in the armors.
Yes, The Gladiators. Yes. Okay, follow me on this one. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
If there was a builder and his name was Bob and he had a show, how would his theme song go? Jack?
Bob the Builder, you can fix it.
Yes! Good
I was
job,
my show
Jack!
in the day.
I was gonna start singing the Handy Manny.
Handy Manny was his competitor, I think. Yeah. Good job, Jack. I have a football question for y'all. You ready? Name the sports franchise which played in St. Louis, Cleveland, and Los Angeles. Who got it? James? The Rams is right. Good job.
Boy, good answer, good answer.
Bonus question. Who will the Rams be sharing a field with in Los Angeles? Manny? No. James?
The Raiders.
Jack?
Chargers.
The Chargers is right. Good job. Okay, this show's going way back, so y'all get ready. In the show, I Love Lucy, what does Lucy's husband come through the door and say? Jack?
Honey, I'm home.
Close. Anyone? Manny?
my dinner.
No, Manny, and I hope your mom didn't hear that one.
It's Lucy I'm home.
You did it. Good job, James. Lucy, I'm home. Manny's in trouble.
Yo, cancel that one out.
So this game, unfortunately, has come to an end. It was a lot of tough competition, but Jack, it looks like you're my winner. Can you pass him down his winning?
Yes.
There you go. Coach Brant, back to you.
Emily, we appreciate your hard work all season long and looking forward to next year's Senior Moments as well. But right now in the show, we transition from Senior Moments into Rangers Trivia. This week in Rangers Trivia, each year the Rangers graduate a large number of players as they say goodbye to their senior class following the final game of the season. How many seniors are on Smithson Valley's roster this year? Is the answer A, 30, B, 35, or C, 40? The answer is B, 35 seniors. Of that group, over a third were regular starters for the Rangers this season, 14 of them including 9 on offense, 4 on defense, and kicker Joaquin Rodriguez on special teams. Yes, again, 35 seniors on this year's team. Many of them made big contributions for the Rangers throughout their Smithson Valley football careers. And Coach, each senior class stands out in their own special way. What made this group stand out to you?
Well, I just think their commitment to doing things right. You know, I mean, that's a cliche, and you think every team does that, and yeah, that's what the seniors always do, but I'm not sure we've had any do it better. They're very hardworking, they're very together, they liked being around each other. They understood that it was their job to promote team chemistry, cohesiveness, and you know, that's not natural, that's not normal, and you know, we had a pretty drama-free year, and that's a great group of young men, and the next generation's leaders, and that's where they'll come from.
Again, as we say goodbye to this year's Smithson Valley senior class, we also look ahead to next year's team, the 2020 season. A look at the offseason for the Rangers, and one more look back at 2019 as well. That's coming up next on Inside Rangers Football.
Guaranteeing things get done while saving you time. Speed is a necessity. GVTC understands and delivers the fastest speeds around for customers every day. I'm Greg Eggleston, and GVTC handles my speed.
And welcome back to Inside Rangers Football. A look back at the 2019 season for Smithson Valley, ending with a record of 6-5. And the journey began with a game on the road, a long road trip to Midland to face Midland Lee, ending with a game against Lake Travis in the playoffs again this past Friday. You look at the 11 games, 6 came against teams who reached the postseason, 4 of them against district champions. And again, you come out with it with a winning record and a trip to the playoffs. So how would you describe the journey your team took this season?
Well, it was tough. You know, you mentioned the schedule, and you know, the UIL groups a lot of really good teams together. We feel like we're one of them, and then, you know, given our success and through the years, we have difficult time scheduling people in non-district that aren't pretty doggone good too. You mentioned a couple district champions there, teams that are still playing, and so I don't think we've ever had quite as ambitious a schedule as we've had this year, and so that made it tough on our guys. But they never flinched, they never backed up, prepared well, had chances to win several of those games. You know, so it probably ranks as the toughest year as far as that kind of thing goes. But as I mentioned earlier, our guys rose to every challenge, and you know, they never backed away from it. Their preparation, as I mentioned earlier, was pristine, and you know, it's a great example of how to rise up to challenges, and I think it'll serve us well moving forward, because our juniors and sophomores on the team got a first-hand look of how you ought to lead, and now it's their turn.
And on that note, Coach, again, yes, 35 seniors on this year's team. It's the nature, though, of high school football. You always have large graduating classes each and every year. So as you say goodbye to them, you also think about what you have coming back. You had a number of juniors and sophomores, underclassmen play on this year's team. Certainly, you've been keeping your eye on the JV team and the freshman team as well. So what will the 2020 edition of the Rangers look like?
Well, that's hard to say yet. You know, you've got a number of starters back, as you said, on each side of the ball. So that's a good thing. You're starting over, of course, in some key positions that'll be tough to replace. But you have a JV team and a freshman team, I think, that combined have 2 losses total. So you've got some good players coming up. You've got tradition in your favor, and you've got guys who waited a long time for their turn, and now it is their turn. So we're excited about the prospects. Of course, it's a realignment year.
Yes.
Don't know exactly what league will be put in, but I think I've said it before, where we're situated geographically, it'll always be a tough league. And it'll always be a challenging schedule, but we'll be up for the challenge.
Expanding upon that a little bit more, Coach, is that yes, over the past 4 seasons worth of Inside Rangers football, we've talked about this tough district. You know, we'll do with Judson and Clemens and Steele. All you've really done is sub out San Marcos with Wagner. And the next batch of realignment is coming up here in a couple of months in January. We don't know what the district will look like, but do you have any inkling of what it might be for you next year, next 2 years?
Well, it's hard to say. My guess is it'll look a lot the same. I could be wrong. The last 2 realignments, we felt like it would look different, but really for 6 years, it's been us and Clemens and Steele and Judson and Bronfels. And the last 4 years we've taken turns being the district champion. Clemens won it, and last year Judson won it. The year before we won it. The year before that Steele won it.
Yeah.
It's been us 4 teams in the playoffs each of those years. And in whatever order we decide to jumble it up. Whether some of that will look different, all of that will look different, that's hard to say. The Northside schools are expanding to 11 6A schools, so that district's getting ready to have to split for the first time. So where will some of those land? Northeast has 7 schools, need at least 1 more to make their league. Could that be Smithson Valley with the likelihood of Canyon maybe moving to 5A and us being kind of a free agent and could go anywhere? What could that look like? Hayes and Lehman, will they now go down to 5A with the opening of their new school? And, what will that look like? So where do we fall? That's hard to say. And like I always say on realignment, all I know is I don't know.
So again, we're going to find out with everybody here in a couple of months about realignment. So you have no control over, but you do have control over the team. So what is the timeline now for this team and getting ready for the new year between spring football, the off season, fall camp? What happens from here on out? Well,
in Texas, particularly at the 6A level, it's an everyday, all year thing. And we'll take a day or 2 to regroup and say goodbye to our seniors and get some gear turned in and that sort of thing, and get a little bit of baseline testing prior to Thanksgiving break. And then when we come back, it's time to go. And then after Christmas, we do our boot camp, which is a big thing in our off season. And then, we do probably more football skills now in the out of season than we ever could with the relatively new UIL rules that allows you to hit dummies and bags every day, which has never been done before in UIL history. And spring football, summer, they let you have football skills 2 days a week in the summer, which, until last year was never done. So kind of never ends, and we'll want to do that so that we'll have the best chance to be as successful as we can be next year. And in a dog-eat-dog world of 6A football, you have to do that, because certainly the Joneses are doing that, so you better keep up with them.
Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure covering your program for another season here in 2019. Congratulations on getting a successful season, a winning record, a trip to the postseason in a very difficult district, and looking forward to talking more Ranger football with you in the years ahead.
Well, thank you, Brant, and to Wick Productions for not only producing our game shows, but also this show. And we're very fortunate, and you and the Wicks are one of the ones that make it the special program that it is. So thank you.
You got it, Coach. Well, again, that's going to do it for this week's and this season's edition of Inside Rangers Football. As always, for head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. Look forward to the next year of 2020, but until then, we'll see you next time.